The Moto G5 Plus is already one of the best deals around for those looking for a good unlocked phone at a low price. But now there's an even cheaper option, the Moto E4, that's actually still really good and lets CDMA customers in on the fun. The Moto E4 is built about as well as I could ask for given the price. Its plastic construction is solid with a metal frame inside, and there's little to no give in the chassis. The buttons are a little mushy, I'll admit, but I like their placement along the side, and theoretically they could be replaced with nicer buttons since they're actually a part of the phone's removable back. The Moto E4 is small enough to sit comfortably in the hand while still giving you a relatively large screen to enjoy. That's a 5-inch LCD display, and from viewing angles to colors to touch response, it's a surprisingly good panel. It's only 720p, but at 5 inches it's still fairly sharp, and the lower resolution just gives the processor one less thing to stress about. Now, which processor your Moto E4 will have depends on which carrier you buy it for. Most versions, like my Verizon model, will have a Snapdragon 425 chipset, but if you're buying from Sprint, you'll get the Snapdragon 427. Either way, you get the same 1.4 GHz clock speed and Adreno 308 GPU. Now, usually when you're shopping on a budget, you're gonna have to make some compromises with regards to the features your phone will have, but on the Moto E4, those compromises are fairly minimal. The usual NFC and wireless charging are missing, but you still get microSD expansion, a headphone jack, a splash-proof coating, and even a fingerprint sensor on the front that works really well and doubles as a home and sleep button. Now, the software on the Moto E4 is just as solid as the hardware. There's a super clean build of Android 7.1 Nougat with only a few pre-installed apps from the carrier. The home screen has direct access to your Google Now feed just like on a Pixel, and it supports Nougat's long press menu actions on the app icons too. Everything runs very smoothly on the Moto E4, maybe even better than on the Moto G5 Plus, its bigger brother, but it is missing a couple of features I've come to love from the Moto brand. The Moto App is still here on the E4, as is Moto Display, but Moto Actions do a lot less than they used to. Sure, you can shrink down the screen or control the phone with a fingerprint sensor, but you can't quickly launch the camera anymore with a double twist, or activate the flashlight with a double chop. Sure, those features sound a little silly, but any Motorola user will tell you how convenient they were. Now, to be fair, you can still launch the camera by double-clicking the power button, but with how mushy that button is, it's sort of hit or miss. Speaking of hit or miss, the cameras. The Moto E4 sports an 8-megapixel primary sensor with a 4-piece composite lens and LED flash that really surprised me overall. In broad daylight, the E4's camera produces vivid colors and handles different exposures very well, though like the Moto G5 Plus, it has a strong tendency to over-sharpen. It's still an inexpensive phone with an inexpensive sensor though, so don't expect too much out of low-light situations. The 5-megapixel front camera is nothing special, producing softer images with even less light intake, but if you find yourself taking selfies in the dark, you'll probably appreciate that it has its own LED flash. Now, I've mentioned a few times that this phone is good for the price, but I haven't actually said what that price is. So, starting today, the Moto E4 will be available at Verizon for $129.99, then rolling out unlocked and to other carriers on June 30th. For less than half the price of the Moto G5 Plus, the Moto E4 is an outstanding deal. For lightning-fast performance, clean software, and pretty decent cameras, this should be the only phone on your radar for under $150.